This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com. Hello and welcome to, I was going to say before the bat, but we're at the bat.
Welcome to
the DC Comics podcast. We'll do a special
bat report.
We planned this a while ago, but this is good timing because it's like, no Pennyworth this week. So
yeah, it works out great. I was thinking about that. Like, my days have been off because we went from, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, we used to have set schedules at work, and now we don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I get random days off now, and it's throwing me. Like, I'm just because I'm off tomorrow and we got stuff going on, and I'm like, well, it's Saturday and I'm off work. Well,
but anyway, I am Phil. That workaholic is
Tyler, the Kryptonian.
And we figured the perfect team up for us would be, I'm a big Batman fan. He's a big Superman fan. So we figured we'd discuss Batman Superman #1 that came out this week.
I would hold mine up, but I actually got this one digitally because with this whole crazy work schedule, my shop has like banker's hours, and they literally are open the time I'm at work. So I have to leave for work before they open, and then by the time I get off work, they're closed. So
I mean, I understand like the business model for comic book shops, but it's like, yeah, they're not open that long.
I mean, Wednesdays would be nice if they would stay open later, being New Comic Book Day. Mm-hmm. They would open earlier and stay open later. But I just can't get there fast enough, so I'm probably gonna go pick them up tomorrow. But yeah, I was like, I'll grab this digitally. I like to read.
So, of course, it spins out of the Batman Who Laughs miniseries.
Before we get started real quick, I just want to say, like, I think it's interesting how they do the Batman Superman books now. Like, if I'm not mistaken, okay, there was the Batman Superman run that birthed Public Enemies.
Yes.
And then, of course, later it was the one that introduced and brought back Kara, and like the Apocalypse story and everything. And then with the New 52, when they brought in Batman Superman, it was a pairing, but it was like Earth 2's Batman and Superman.
Some of it was, yeah. Well, a lot of it was, yeah. You're right, but I think later on they did get the Earth one eventually.
Because what we find out first is like in the New 52, Earth 2's when we start with, if you were reading the Earth 2 book, Batman and Superman are already dead.
Oh yeah.
They were killed as part of Darkseid's invasion, just like what he did on Earth 1 for Justice League Origins. So the Superman book, because I remember picking it up and I got a poster of it and being kind of confused because it talked about the Daily Star and stuff like that, because it was all the Earth 2. And then here we are again with this new run of Batman Superman, and it's birthed out of another unique kind of event. Mm-hmm. That's bringing these two into their own story.
So we haven't talked comics in a while. What do you think of the Batman Who Laughs?
It's one of those. I've kind of proven myself, like, I love Scott Snyder's writing. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes it's kind of crazy, and when it first was announced, I was like, the Dark Multiverse. I was like, okay. The nth metal, meaning like ninth metal, and all that they did. With Metal, like, I didn't even read Metal till it was like done, and then I read it and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then how the Batman Who Laughs came from that, and I didn't quite get all his story. I didn't remember, and then reading this kind of helped just bring that to how he came to be. So I thought that was interesting. And I mean, it's just an interesting take. It's like, it's a way of doing like the Joker and Batman as one character.
Yeah, because that Batman got Joker. There was like Joker gas in Joker's heart, so when he kills him, it turns him into the Batman Who Laughs.
And the whole dark multiverse thing was pretty interesting, and so I mean, it's a character that I'm like, it serves its purpose.
Mm-hmm. Well, even that Batman Who Laughs miniseries, like, he was working with another Batman, the Grim Knight. who in that reality, the minute like Bruce Wayne's parents die, Joe Chill drops the gun. Bruce Wayne picks it up and blows him away and thinks, hey, this is a great way to fight crime.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because in that dark multiverse, even Joker is still a villain, and not so even the heroes. There's not like it's flipped like Earth 3 where you have the crime syndicate. It's just like it's corrupted that everything is dark and almost everything is evil.
Well, like
in some way,
like they even say in the beginning of the story, like it was a universe similar to ours, but all of a sudden Batman just gets turned.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that when I started reading this, it did hook me because I was looking at stuff, and one thing should have kind of given it away to me, but what was going on. But yeah, it was don't want to spoil it too much. I know we're about to start, so I didn't. Yeah, so but
yeah, I was gonna say I got feedback from Ray to read, but that he spoils the ending, so I'm gonna save that for last.
I mean, first of all, I want to point out I love the artwork.
Oh, I love the artwork.
I think this is the best Batman and Superman have looked in a while, where I don't feel like it's over stylized.
Yes,
or they're not trying to make them look. They look more normal, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, nobody looks heavily armored. He got like the classic looks. Batman, he got the utility belt. Superman's got the trunks and everything.
And so it definitely takes place, in the modern continuity where Batman has his trunks back, and so does Superman, which I find hilarious, just because it's like all the changes and all the stuff that goes on in comics. But somehow we have to always come back to that.
Classic.
But yeah. But you want to start from the beginning and kind of go through it here?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of it opens up at the Daily Planet. Jimmy Olsen got a shot of Batman. Picture of Batman.
And it's the Daily Planet, Jimmy Olsen by Clark Kent, and they're talking about I got a tip. And it's just like it's very interesting. Like if you just start reading this, you wouldn't realize what's going on here. We get Batman whispering to Clark that he needs him.
Yep.
We got an epic shot of Superman flying off. I mean, that is an amazing shot
to the Watchtower. Yeah. The artist David Marquez. Yeah, this is really great job. Even the colors and stuff.
And then I like the way that we get the Click backstory of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Just my parents were murdered in an alley every day, crime in a dark alley. And we see the pearls coming apart with like blood.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so Superman shows up at the Watchtower. Do you want to kind of tell what's going on here, Phil?
Well, he comes in, the League's like dead.
Yeah. And what should have tipped me off at first was the costume.
Oh, yeah. I see it now.
Because if you look, like, I didn't think about it just because that's my favorite Superman costume they've recently done. But it is a little bit different.
Well, they really didn't give you a straight-on shot until he walks into the Watchtower, too.
Right. And if you look at it, it's got the belt, more like the New 52 belt.
No trunk.
But it's got the wrist cuffs and everything, more like the was it New Dawn or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is subtle changes. It's like they took the two different costumes and mixed them. And basically we find out we're on the dark multiverse Earth. And this was kind of a quick background into the Batman Who Laughs origin.
Yep.
Because it got me for a second, because I was like, holy crap, right off the bat, Superman's down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there's Batman with, wait, what? And then we see Earth Zero now. So I couldn't remember. That's what they call the Earth, is Zero.
Yes.
The main Earth is Earth, not Prime. Couldn't remember.
Not Prime, not 1 yet. Right now it's Earth Zero.
Which, sidetrack here, I wonder when we get the Crisis on TV if they'll be revealed to be an Earth Zero or an Earth Prime.
Well, I wonder when they fold everything in, is it just going to be Earth Zero or Earth Prime?
Right. Because, I mean, they've always used that terminology, but in the TV series that they've always referenced as we're Earth 1.
Mm.
You know? So I'm wondering if they'll be like, oh, wait, there's an Earth 0. But that's just tangential. So we get Gotham City.
Yep. Batman's talking to Gordon.
Is he?
Well, Gordon thinks he is. He's like, I know all this Batman. He's explaining to him the Batman who laughs. He's like, I know. I was there in the miniseries.
He's like, I'm not talking to you, Commissioner.
Then we see Superman swoop in with Killer Croc.
I mean, it's interesting, like, the way they draw Batman holding his cape so much in his hands. And then I didn't realize this issue, like the title is Who Are the Secret Six? And I guess part of why I'm excited for this, I'm not familiar with this writer.
Oh, Joshua Williamson. I believe that's the guy who's writing Flash right now.
Yeah, I feel like he's like one of the new up-and-comers who's really... Like, I started reading, Flash Year 1, and...
Yeah, that's him.
I think I was on issue 3 when I stopped. Because, I don't know, it just didn't kind of... It was okay, but it didn't grab me the way I was hoping it would. Because he traveled to the back, and he's talking to himself, and I'm like, man, I don't want to deal with, like... I just want to see Flash learn,
Some of it I thought moved a little slow, but I thought the last part was really good. Like, he really nailed it in the last part of it, so...
I'll pick it back up. It's just time.
I'd say, if nothing else, just pick up, I think 75 was the last part of that.
But I like this Superman stuff where, and that's a good thing. Hold on, let me drop Croc off at Arkham. You see whoosh, and then, okay, how can I help, gentlemen? And Commissioner's just kind of like in shock. And I had to think, like, with our continuity, this kind of feels like the first time Superman meets the Commissioner, but I'm like, with all of our merging of New 52 to Rebirth and everything, have they met before?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. It's either their first meeting or it's like, Superman doesn't show up that often, at least for Gordon.
Superman tells him to quit smoking.
Because he says the man who flies is still an uncomfortable sight. So I just wonder if maybe they've done it a few times.
But man, I love this coloring of just Superman, Batman, got Gordon sitting on by the bat symbol. Somebody transformed.
That's right. But no, Gordon telling them about Danny Mills, 13 years old, was kidnapped from his bedroom.
But what I was saying is, like, what I really like is I like this one shot shows like the gold tones, the world of Batman, the darkness, and then there's that brightness of Superman just popping. Like, it fits the same color style, but those colors just don't fit there. And that's what makes it so interesting. And we find out that he was kidnapped by Superman.
Well, the little
and that the Superman was laughing.
Yeah, the little brother was a witness, and he said it was this laughing Superman.
So, Batman's like, we're going to go find Danny.
Well, Superman said, don't worry, Commissioner, we'll find him.
And, we get a quick recap that Gordon, was held by the Batman who laughs. And then I love this. Gordon's in the forefront, says, and usually I'm alone by now. And Superman says, that's Batman's move, not mine. It's just, and like the first time I read this, okay, so Superman says, Commissioner will find him. Commissioner says, I know you will. And like it goes dark, and it's just his glasses, and he says, "Heh."
He turns off the
yeah. And my first thought was, is he infected? Like he's gonna start laughing because he says "heh." And I thought first time I said that, and then now like I read, I'm like, maybe it's just like a sigh of relief, like, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
it could be. It's just an interesting way they shadow it compared to how they've drawn the other stuff, and just the HEH kind of just makes me think like something more. But we have this great Superman flying and Batman running.
And
I think it's kind of funny.
And Batman keeps asking Superman, if I was ever out of control like this guy, what would you do to stop me? Superman says, I don't think like that.
He says, so you're saying you don't think like me? No one thinks like you.
Yeah.
And then I love this art of them standing, and we're basically back where Bruce's parents were murdered.
Oh, yeah.
Park Row, Crime Alley, where my parents died.
Just those phantom figures of Bruce kneeling over his parents, yeah.
And he says, we don't have to do this. And Bruce says, just do it. And Superman is like, boom, straight down.
Because the Batman Who Laughs cave is under Park Row, Crime Alley.
And then they're about to jump down it. Like, see what I was saying? Like the way Batman grips his cape so much in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this interesting. Like the Batman Who Laughs has robots.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very like, and it's interesting how much elaborate, like he has this cave, like he already has his cave, and like how much time did he was he here to do all this? You know,
I just wonder. I mean, they never say it, but I wonder if this could have been one of Bruce's old caves, because I mean, at least during No Man's Land, he had a bunch of like different caves built, because he's like, oh, after Bane broke my back, you know, I decided I need contingency plans.
Exactly, and that's why I'm like, because I mean, for him to just set up this one cave, like he'd have to have been here for a while, and with extensive it is, and all the creepiness that's there.
But yeah, Superman finally figures out. He's like, the Batman. He's like, you're interrogating me. He's like, I'm not infected.
And they're going back and forth. And he says, I mean, you are nothing like this Batman Who Laughs. And Batman says, I wish that were true.
Mm-hmm.
And the Batarang molds are interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Traces of that serum with nth metal.
But just the cave is just like a dark, twisted version of the Batcave.
And I love this. You know, they're talking, and Superman says, like, you know, him and his father used to play chess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Batman Who Laughs is doing. And it's just interesting because so often I think we forget that Superman is a smart guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's not, you know, super. I mean, he is smart. He's a scientist in a lot of ways.
Well, he's kind of a little bit of a detective in his own right, too, because he's an investigative reporter.
Exactly. But he always gets undercut and underplayed by so many other characters that we forget this. Because I like what he says. He says, what happens when we stop playing the Batman Who Laughs games? And he puts the chess piece down, and then we see an image of the Justice League, the Titans, Teen Titans, and as he states, everyone with their face with red X's and lips.
Mm-hmm.
And then the robins like that are standing around that are supposed to be like statues are extremely creepy.
Oh yeah, because the Batman Who Laughs had his robins, they were real before. Which one of them is now?
He says, we have no idea who we can trust. So it really seems like this storyline is going to be just Batman and Superman versus everybody, because they don't know who they can trust or what's going on. And then we get the evil Robin that just pops out.
Yep.
And attacks him. And he says, one of his Robins, but where did he? And the boy says, he took me from my family, hit me with a batarang.
Mm-hmm. So I told him he was too innocent for his mission, but he could use me, and they all think it's that they kidnapped Danny kid.
Says, you can trust us. We're here to take you home, Danny. He says, you don't understand. What, Superman? I'm glad he took me. He freed me. You don't recognize me. And we find out that evil Robin is actually Billy Batson. And I mean, we get an epic shot of the Shazam who laughs.
I know, it's like a page splash. Yeah, it's like Shazam.
And if you look at the Batarang he's holding, has the Superman crest in it. And he's got Superman down, and he's like, I've always wondered who was better. And and I'm just like, dang, that's intense. Like, I wonder who that's why, like, okay, that's why I kind of wondered if, like, the Gordon suspicion, just because they don't find Danny,
Yeah, could Gordon have made that whole thing up?
So, and they also just stated, we don't know who we can trust.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I liked it. I think it's a kind of a cool little, like, horror-esque story. I think so many of these, like, we were talking a little bit online, today, like, with all of us in our thread. So many of these stories start out great.
Mm-hmm.
When they get to the last part, like, they become these huge epic, to where it's just, I feel like the story gets lost. It just becomes this, like, and that's how I felt about at the end of Metal. Like, there was so much going on, I didn't even know what was going on anymore. It was just like, I had no idea. It just becomes too big for its own good. But yeah, this is a strikingly powerful image.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the art, again, this art is just so good. And yeah, it, like, Dark Knight's Metal was a little too complicated, I thought. Yeah, so far this is like, I like the pacing and everything on this, and it's not like, not everything has to be giant universal.
Yeah, I mean, I miss. Actually, that's what I kind of was liking over at Action Comics when it started off with where it was just him investigating the fires and stuff when it first started, because it was like a small story.
Mm-hmm.
With Superman. Kind of went huge again. It's kind of neat when we get these smaller, different kind of personal stories with our characters instead of always these world-ending kind of things.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
these huge epic arcs. It's nice. So,
but yeah, like I said, Ray wrote to us from last Sons of Krypton and Into the Night and Midnight podcast. He wrote, "Hey, Phil."
It's a good time.
Yeah,
been on there a couple times.
Yeah, I've been on that Into the Night a few times. He says, "Hey, Phil and Tyler, just dropping in some thoughts to the recently read Batman Superman #1 issue, which dropped this week. Not being too familiar with Batman and comics, yeah, I know, I should really, but having a fandom for Superman, I thought I'd give this comic a go. I was pleasantly surprised with the solid start to this series, and much of it is with Marquez's gorgeous art. Williamson's writing itself is also quite fluent and it keeps the beats going without getting too weighed down with dialogue. I've never heard of this Batman Who Laughs. How dare you? I've seen pictures of him, and he sounds like a pretty deadly villain. For me, I find the concept of the Batman Who Laughs a bit silly, but the Batman Who Laughs as a vehicle to create a scenario which places both Batman and Superman in a predicament. It's quite effective. The premise of the Batman Who Laughs trying to spread his illness is scary, and I love the allusion to the Superman Who Laughs and the ultimate reveal at the end with Shazam. Having enjoyed the movie, I like seeing Shazam now in the comics, and it leaves this highly entertaining issue on a pretty good cliffhanger. It gives it 7.5 out of 10. Cheers."
All right. I agree with everything he said. I think the Batman Who Laughs is a really big concept, but at the same time, it's kind of a neat little, like, can be a pulled back story. Like I said, it's something interesting that puts them two back together with just them two. But I was sitting here, I'm looking at the cover, and it's called, who the hunt begins for the infected. And then, as we went through on the page where Superman shows up, it says, "Who are the secret six?" So I'm just kind of like, what all does that play? What all does that mean? Infected. Right. Because there's Shazam. Would that be one? What all does that mean? So this is a great start for a Batman Superman, but it's like, is this supposed to be a limited run?
I don't know, unless they do like previous runs of Batman Superman and they just do different arcs.
Because because it's not saying like Batman Superman versus the Batman Who Laughs. It's just Batman Superman, and then it says this is called The Hunt Begins, and then Who Are the Secret Six Part 1. So it looks like it's it's setting up for an ongoing series, with this being the launching story. So I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, me too. But like I said, again, unless they just do different arcs, and this is the first arc. But I mean, all right, here's a question. Do you think I like the Batman Who Laughs so far, especially in this story, but I don't know, are they watering down the whole premise of Batman with the Batman Who Laughs, then the Flashpoint Batman's over in Tom King's Batman?
Yeah, it's like several things where I feel like they have an idea and they do too much, or they try to stretch one character too much. I don't know. We'll kind of have to wait and see, because it's kind of how I felt when they did Batman and Robin Eternal and Batman Eternal. Like, they start with a cool idea, but then they just like stretched it way too long and the character way too thin, that it just felt out of place. And of course we have these comic book stories like this, where you're like, okay, well, this is going on, but you also have Superman solo adventures. Like, where does that take place at? So I like Batman and Superman together. I think there's a lot of cool story and things that you can write around the two of them being together, and their different personalities, but how they're very same yet different. So this issue, buddy. Look,
so you got to
show you.
You got it digitally. Did you get like a Superman cover? Because there was like two different. There was like a Superman, Batman. Oh, is it both? Okay. I know in print.
He turned Shazam. So it's
or Superman
Who Laughs. He's coming after everybody. He's bad.
He's bad?
Yeah, the Batman Who Laughs is bad.
Why?
Look.
He's been Jokerized.
Mm-hmm.
He turned to Batman too?
Mm-hmm. So.
That's working.
See, that's the cool, the double character. So, but yeah, I agree a lot with what Ray was saying. I think it's a cool. I mean, it can be a good jumping in book too. But man, I love this artwork. If I could just I love the image of Superman on the Superman cover. If I could just take the Batman Who Laughs out and just have that Superman, it would be awesome. Because it is just like a stunning shot. So
yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah, like on the Superman side, he's like all in the sunlight, but then you go over to the Batman side and he's all in the dark.
So, all right, anything? We pretty much summed it up. Oh, one last thing I do want to make a comment with you, man. How just a quick feeling, so we're not here forever. This whole Jeff Johns Shazam thing.
Oh yeah, what is it? Is it issues? Is it 9 and 10? There's 2 issues of Shazam that are basically been pushed back indefinitely.
Yeah, basically the run is done, and I'm I don't even remember what issue we were on because it was they came out, then it got delayed. I want to say 4, maybe. Maybe that's where we were.
I swear we got 4 or 5. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it's killing me because I love Johnson's writing. I love where this Shazam just picks up. I'm pulling it up right now. We stopped at Shazam.
Yeah,
6,
is he doing too much?
And that was in June. Shazam 6 was in June. And it's like, man, we're almost at 2 years now and still haven't completed Doomsday
issue 11
Clock.
comes out on Wednesday.
This
Yeah,
Wednesday?
coming up.
So September
Yep.
4th. And I mean, great. Awesome. But I'm just like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what Jeff Johns is doing since it seems like he took time off from movies and stuff.
They're having big issues over there. Lil said that, like, yeah, they're seriously having giant issues over there on the comic book side and on DC.
And I'm like, what's going on? You know, like, Solomon, did you? Looks like this got bent, buddy. But so I don't know. It's just like, man, I hate because like it seems like he gets announced for a book. I'm really interested, and then nothing.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I don't know if he's too busy, but yeah, they're having some kind of issues over there on the comic book side. Like Lil was saying, like big time. Like she was like for a while thought they were gonna stop making comics. That's how bad it was, I think.
I don't
People
know.
need to read more.
Yeah,
I
I mean, I think my thing is I wish they do so many stories.
they're putting out
It's the same thing. I felt like
they're putting out too
Good.
much, and they're pricing themselves out of business too.
well, it's exactly the way that I felt when what do you call it? The same thing I've said about Superman. Like they'll do a sweet story like Superman Doomed, but then they threw it and they split it up between like 6 books, so they got the story done real quick. You know, when it could have been a longer story in Superman, or the same thing with Superman Unchained that they did. Like you didn't need to do this side story. That could have been part of the Superman comic. But it's like you have all these ideas, and instead of like pacing it, you just like, okay, we'll have 6 Batman titles right now. Okay, well that's done. What do we do now? You know, and instead of doing, like I said earlier, they did Batman Eternal. You look at that story, that the kind of Batman story that Scott Snyder wanted to do after he got done with year 1, because it really is like the cap to his what he started with in the Court of Owls. But they spread that out for like 52 books.
Yeah.
You know, and then they did Batman and Robin Eternal, and they were side stories when they could have been in the main line. They just do so much so quickly that you're just like Dark Knight Metal, like, you know, this side story. You're just like, there's just so much going on they're trying to write. It's like, it'd be kind of nice if they peel back some, because then maybe I would get more invested in these other titles too, of characters I like, but I'm too busy trying to keep up with Batman or Superman to enjoy those other characters. You know, and I'm talking about like right here, the Shazam. Like that was a book I was really excited for because we got the Shazam origins in the New 52, and then he appeared in Trinity War, a couple other things here and there, and then he never got his own title.
Well, this latest series seems like they're almost like, oh, there's a movie out. We got to get something out.
Well, it does, but it's the sequel to the origin book, like, because he was completely forgotten for most of the New 52. He appeared here and there, and then he was gone through all Rebirth, and he didn't reappear till now.
I mean, it just seems like they wanted to get it out, and it's like, you know what? I wouldn't mind waiting a little bit. You know, get some issues in the can so there's no delays. And
that's what always baffles me. Like, if Jeff Johns is stepping away from Jan, I don't know, maybe to finish writing, 3 Jokers,
Doomsday Clock,
the book that will never come out, that was announced in 2016?
What, 3 Jokers?
Isn't that when we had? Yeah, wasn't that when we had?
That was like the end of New 52.
It was at the Dark Side War. because that was supposed to be part of, because that was supposed to be in continuity, and then they said they're going to do it in the DC Black side, which is out of continuity.
Wasn't that like Justice League 50 or something? Like, yeah, it's the new 52. So yeah, I mean, we've been waiting all through Rebirth and everything. Yeah.
I mean, Rebirth is over. We're just on to the regular DC Universe books.
But again, unless they're waiting for the Joker movie.
Okay.
The comics don't always have to bow to the movies and stuff. Yeah, I know they want branding and stuff. But.
Right. And I mean, that's the beauty, is that that it's a character that they're telling this story over here and they're telling this story over here. I mean, perfect to think about. Do you remember when I think the Flash TV series was maybe in season 1 or 2, and in the comics they were at that weird where it was the DCU, and they changed his costume to where the Flash in the comics had the red behind it.
Yeah.
In the TV series, and then all of a sudden, like in the TV series, he's regular. And the same thing they try to do with Aquaman. They try to give him more of a Jason Momoa look before BVS came out, or right after it did. And it just like, you don't have to make the characters reflect the other side, like, because by the time you guys catch up, they change it in the other medium that you're chasing.
Because they think all these movies and TV shows are going to drive people to the comic shops, and it's not working.
I mean, I think it might help it, but it's the same thing I've said about, like with Marvel, is I really enjoy all the Marvel films. When I go to my comic shop, I'll read Spider-Man or Daredevil, but I'm not interested in picking up a Captain America book or a Hulk book, or I'm just not interested in picking up those comics, but I like those characters. The movies more drive merch. And the readers, like, we continue to read and everything, but we gotta, find ways. Honestly, what I wish would happen is if DC would launch a line that is more teen to kids kind of, but kind of the way they did when Marvel released the Ultimate Universe, where every character got its own reboot for a younger generation, and it was like they were just completely separate than the other line. So because it was a great point for me at the time to jump back into reading, because my brother he got hooked on Fantastic Four, and I can't remember which other. I think the Avenger. But I got hooked on Spider-Man then. Like, I got back into just weekly buying because I could find a point, and it was a whole new universe where everything connected, and I didn't have to know anything. I didn't have to worry about. I still have my other stories over here with all the history and continuity, and maybe something like that where younger readers could come, reintroduce to their characters, and create their own new comic universe. Fresh.
Well, that's what I was thinking. DC never wants to completely reboot anymore, but it's like, I don't know, if they tried to tweak it after New 52 in the Rebirth, and I think it kind of they're two different flavors. They wanted to go back to the old style, but they're just like, there's still New 52 mixed in there, and it's just like,
I mean, the New 52 is like a half a good idea,
but it's like when you go from New 52 to Rebirth, you're muddying the waters even more. Like, what's in continuity anymore? What's not?
But and I mean, that's kind of the biggest problem, right? Is so I don't know, like, for a while, New 52 was great for me because I kept up with certain stories. I read more graphic novels because I had lost track of books because I had nowhere to find them. And now, I have my shop and everything, but I had more fun tracking the older stories. I think for the longest time, the only current series I was reading was Green Lantern, because my roommate was such a big Green Lantern fan that we were reading all the stuff to Blackest Night, and we stayed like up to date with that.
But yeah, I mean, that's the other problem, is distribution. I mean, back in the days, to be able to get a comic book at the supermarket, the convenience store, they had like magazine shops and stuff. Yeah, now it's like unless you go to a comic shop, they're hard to find.
And that's why like the whole Walmart thing I thought was a cool idea, because at least it's putting books. I think they need a better section where they have it in some Walmarts, but it's kind of putting books where people could actually get the actual book.
And it was like, it's weird because it was like a new story and then like 2 or 3 reprints and like, what was it, like $4 or $5? I think if they would have made them cheaper, just like do like one story, make it like $1 or $2, I think they would have sold more.
Yeah, if they would have it's like a $5 book and it's thick, which is great for us, but just make it like a $2 book.
But I mean, I wasn't picking them up mostly because it was like, yeah, there's one new story in there, but everything else, all the reprints, I'm like, I have all this stuff already.
Yeah. I only bought 2 issues.
Like now I'm buying Batman Universe because they're reprinting the original Batman story Bendis wrote. So without any of the reprints. So I was like, okay. But that's in the comic shops. That's not at Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Like years ago, Kyle Higgins was writing the sequel to Batman Beyond in digital form. And then like after 3 or 4 digital chapters would come out, they would collect them into an issue.
Yeah, Marvel and DC both did that.
And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I don't want to buy in digital then because I'm just going to wait and go get it at the shop. So I don't know. My thing is I just feel like there's a saturation of the same characters in so many, titles that it's just hard to work through it. So, but that's my piece.
Cool. So, yeah, should we get out of here? I wouldn't even ask you about the Legion of Superheroes.
I haven't got to read
what's
it
out yet. I mean, Superman. I finally got Superman 14 this week after the cover snafu.
I'll be up front. Like I'm interested with you, John, but I'm not a Legion
fan.
I've never liked the Legion. It just
seems like there's I don't know if I want to say too many characters, but it just seems like there's too many moving pieces there. Not that I ever read their series regularly, but I'm just like, it just seems like there's too much going on there. Well, I guess when they tried to do the whole DC universe in the future in one book, it's just like, all right, so let's get out.
Yeah, let's get out of here. I got a 4-year-old in bed.
Yeah, my 6-year-old will be going to bed soon. All right, everyone, you can send us thoughts. We'll be back next week with Pennyworth. So email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Follow Capes and Lunatics and Before the Bat on Facebook, on Twitter at Capes Lunatics and at Before the Bat Pod. Follow Capes and Lunatics on Instagram. Work in progress, capesandlunatics.org. Follow the YouTube. You can watch us here at Get Vocal, VOKL.com. Yeah, you can watch us do all this live on our Facebook, Twitter, and on Get Vocal and the YouTube. Tyler Patrick, where can people talk to you about DC?
You'll find me at the Krypton Report podcast, where we talk all things Superman and Supergirl related, and you can hear us talk about that. And you can find me at Krypton Report Pod, and on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just search for Krypton Report.
Heck yeah. Like we said, you can always catch Ray on the Last Sons of Krypton podcast and Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast, which that's getting a Disney Plus series too.
And I'm actually really excited to watch that because Moon Knight's not a character I know much about.
It's awesome. It's going to be awesome. So yes, and let's see where Batman Superman goes.
I just don't want every issue to be like the Batman Who Laughs, the Shazam Who Laughs, the Wonder Woman Who Laughs.
I don't know. It might be that way for the next couple issues. I don't know. Might have 6 of them.
So the Alfred Who Laughs.
Could be. Oh, that's going to be weird because like Alfred supposedly got killed in Batman, but it's like that's the other problem. Like Marvel and DC have like no continuity anymore.
Oversaturation. They got to print out they got to print us out a
I
timeline.
already said I will. They can pay me Marvel or DC or both. I'll be their continuity cop.